I am Ila Monroe, 30 years old and living the dream in my tiny but perfect downtown Philadelphia loft. At least I was until last Sunday when my Layla's parents dropped a bomb over Sunday dinner. "Your Layla's sister will live in your loft," they announced like they were telling me the weather forecast. Their eyes dared me to object, but I just nodded and cut another piece of meat. Some battles are fought in the moment. Others require strategy, and sometimes you need to let a complete stranger open your door. If only they had asked first. Before I tell you this wild story, let me know where you're watching from. Hit that like button and subscribe if you have ever had family members who think your boundaries are optional. Trust me, you will want to see how this unfolds. Growing up as the eldest Ila Monroe daughter meant one thing: responsibility. While other kids got allowances for existing, I babysat, mowed lawns, and tutored my way through high school. By 18, I had saved enough for my first semester of community college. 2 years later, I transferred to Columbia College, Philadelphia on partial scholarship, working nights at a coffee shop to cover rent in a shared loft with 3 other girls. No one handed me anything. Amanda arrived 5 years after me. A surprise baby who instantly became the family treasure. Where I was practical, she was creative. Where I was cautious, she leaped without looking. And where I worked for everything, Amanda simply had to ask. It was cute when she was 5 and needed someone to build her dollhouse. Less cute at 25 when she needed someone to pay her rent again. The pattern began early. My 13th birthday party was downsized because Amanda had a dance recital the same weekend. My high school graduation dinner became a family discussion about which preschool would nurture Amanda's artistic talents. When I landed my first graphic design internship, the celebration lasted exactly 12 minutes before Mom remembered Amanda needed new soccer cleat. I adapted, learned to celebrate my wins privately, built a life away from the suburban Philadelphia neighborhood where my Layla's parents still lived in the same 4-bedroom colonial they bought when I was 3. Their house remained frozen in time. My teenage bedroom converted to a crafting space while Amanda's room stayed pristine despite her moving out 3 years ago, or rather attempting to move out. The first loft lasted 6 months until the roommate drama became too much. The second place ended when Amanda decided retail jobs were beneath her artistic temperament. The third loft, the one she was now apparently being evicted from, had been a miracle of timing 8 months ago. I wonder if they ever had the rent conversation with Amanda, I thought while driving to our monthly family dinner. Probably not. My 1-bedroom loft in Printer's Row was my sanctuary. 650 square ft of hardwood floors, exposed brick, and carefully curated furniture. I had painted the walls myself, installed floating shelves for my book collection, and splurged on a real leather couch that took 4 months of saving. The building was a converted factory with high ceilings and huge windows that flooded the space with afternoon light, perfect for a graphic designer who appreciated good aesthetics. Every piece in my loft told a story. The vintage drafting table I used as a desk came from an estate sale. The mid-century credenza held my record collection and the turntable I restored. Even my dishes were deliberately chosen. Heath ceramics in a soft blue that made my morning coffee ritual feel special. My Layla's parents had visited exactly twice in the 3 years I lived there. Both times my mother had looked around with the tight smile that meant she was calculating how much everything cost and whether it was worth it. Now, sitting at their dining table with the same faded floral centerpiece they had used for a decade, I was answering the usual questions about my job at Vertex Creative. The fork freezes. Mom's hand, midair. Dad's stare, cold steel. The Sunday dinner air thickens like gravy gone cold. I feel the weight of the unasked question before it lands. Rain taps the gutters. Plink, plink, like a countdown. "She can crash with you, right?" My chair shrieks across hardwood. Boundary snapped. Silence roars. What happens next? I taste iron where I bit my tongue. The leaf rustle outside sounds like gossip. My loft, my 650 square feet of brick and light, flashes behind my eyes. Amanda's cat allergies? Forgotten. My pull-out couch? Suddenly, a guest bed. Temporary, Mom murmurs, voice soft as butter left out too long. Just until she lands on her feet, Dad adds like I'm the safety net they paid for. Amanda twirls spaghetti, eyes pleading, lips curved in that same old crescent moon grin. I picture my heath blue coffee mug shattered on reclaimed wood. I picture fur on my leather couch. I picture rent I pay solo feeding two mouths. The rain scent drifts in through the cracked window. Petrichor or panic? I set my fork down. Slow, deliberate, the sound rings like a gavel. No, I say, one syllable, one earthquake. Mom's fork clatters, Dad's jaw flexes. Amanda blinks, lashes wet. I stand. My seat stays empty. The Sunday dinner steams, untouched. I walk out, heels echoing on parquet. Door slams. Night air slaps my cheeks. I breathe. For the first time, the city smells like mine. I flip the bathroom light. It's already on. Mirror catches a shadow. A moving box taped shut last December gapes open. Amanda inside stacking my jewelry trays like it's a takeover, not a visit. Solder scent metallizes in the air. My Etsy camera on the counter angles toward her, about to stream her design live. Narrative yanks inside out. Invasion broadcasting from within my sanctuary. Viewers already rolling hearts. I freeze. Heart, a trapped bird. Camera red, dot blinks. She hasn't seen me. Yet. I step back. Shoes silent on tile. Thumb hovers over stop stream. Rain scent drifts through cracked window. Leaf rustle outside. City holds its breath. Amanda hums. Stacks rings like trophies. My rings, my late nights, my rent, my space. I whisper, 1 second. Camera keeps rolling. I step into frame. She looks up, eyes wide, caught. I smile, not sweet, strategic. Hey, sis. Pause. Mind telling the live audience whose studio this really is? I stare at Mom's last blue bubble, heart, no apology, when the buzzer drills my skull. Peephole frame, Amanda, neon suitcase, grin rehearsed under dying hall light. Phone buzz again. Landlord group text, new lease addendum. Heart sinks with buzzer. OneNote, desperate. Open and lose the last corner of my life, or ghost and watch everything implode. I flip the bathroom switch. Light already on. Moving box from last December gapes. Amanda inside, stacking my jewelry trays like trophies. Solder tang sharpens the air. Etsy camera on the counter points. Live red dot pulsing. She hasn't seen me. Yet. I step back. Shoes silent. Thumb over stop stream. Rain scent slips through the crack. City holds its breath. Leaf rustle outside. Amanda hums. My rings clink. My late nights. My rent. I whisper, 1 second. Camera rolls. I step into frame. She looks up. Caught. I smile. Not sweet. Hey. Pause. Tell the live audience whose studio this is. Jasmine went quiet. Unusual. Then, tell them no. 2 letters, 1 syllable. So simple when she said it. They never hear it, I muttered to empty space. Years of family tuning don't fade overnight. I dial. Mom sends me straight to voicemail twice. Movie, she texts. Talk tomorrow. I text reason. My loft is 400 square feet, Mom. I need my desk for client calls. Mom. She will work around you. Same Layla's sister who played guitar at 3 a.m. during my finals. I text Amanda. Place is tiny. Amanda. Mom says it's fine. Don't be selfish, Mads. Me. How long? Amanda. Till I figure things out. My jewelry is taking off. Instagram followers? Cat? I type. Amanda. Whiskers is chill. You won't even notice. Notice cat fur on every surface. Notice the litter box beside my bed. Sleep ghosts me. Midnight ceiling fan counts each blade. Outside, sirens answer the silence I leave. My team at Vertex Creative was counting on my designs for the healthcare client presentation on Friday. The concept boards were nearly finished, but I still needed to refine the typography and color palette. My boss had entrusted me with this major account after just 18 months at the company, a vote of confidence I was determined to validate. The next morning, Tyler from the copywriting department noticed my distraction immediately. "Rough weekend?" he asked, setting a coffee on my desk. "The good stuff from the cafe downstairs, not the office sludge." "Family stuff," I mumbled, grateful for the caffeine. "Nothing I cannot handle." But could I handle it? The question followed me through meetings and design revisions. By Wednesday, the stress had manifested as a persistent headache behind my right eye. "You seem off, Madison." "Catherine, my boss," said after I fumbled through an internal presentation. "Everything okay with the WellPath project?" Catherine was 45, impeccably dressed, and had worked her way up in advertising when women were still being asked to make coffee in client meetings. She did not tolerate excuses, but had shown me unexpected kindness when I had strep throat last winter. "Just some personal stuff," I assured her. "The presentation will be perfect by Friday." She studied me for a moment. Family or relationship? Was I that transparent? Family. I admitted boundaries being crossed. She nodded once. "Handle it. Whatever you need to do. Your work is too good to be compromised by other people's drama." Those words echoed as I stared at my ceiling that night. Handle it. Whatever you need to do. The solution began to form. Nebulous at first, then gaining clarity with each passing hour. By morning, I knew exactly what I needed to do, or rather, what I needed to not do. Sunday night's family dinner revelation had set off a chain reaction. By Monday morning, I had 17 text messages from my mother detailing what Amanda would need in the loft. By Tuesday, my father had emailed a spreadsheet of Amanda's furniture with dimensions, asking which pieces would fit in my place. The correct answer was none, but that detail seemed irrelevant to them. I decided to approach the building management about visitor policies, hoping for some bureaucratic rule that would save me. Richard Gomez, the building manager, was arranging maintenance schedules in the small office off the lobby when I knocked. "Miss Ila Monroe, what can I do for you?" he asked, gesturing to the chair across from his desk. I settled in, explaining my predicament as professionally as possible. "So, officially, how long can guests stay before they need to be on the lease?" Richard adjusted his glasses. "Technically, visitors should not stay more than 14 consecutive days without being added to the lease, but enforcement is complaint-based." He leaned forward. "Is your guest going to be disruptive?" I considered my Layla's sister's history potentially. He nodded knowingly. "Well, adding someone to the lease requires management approval, income verification, and an additional security deposit, and we would need to convert your lease from a one-bedroom to a two-bedroom rate." The information was useful, though not as immediately helpful as I had hoped. I thanked Richard and headed for the elevator, deep in thought. As the doors opened on the 4th floor, I nearly collided with a tall man carrying a moving box. "Sorry about that," he said, stepping back. The box balanced precariously in his arms. "No problem," I replied automatically, reaching out to stabilize the wobbling container. "Moving in?" He nodded, adjusting his grip. 4E just transferred here for work. 4E was directly across from my loft. 4, I am your neighbor then, Madison Ila Monroe. I offered my hand after he set the box down. "Marcus Reynolds," he replied, shaking it. "Any tips for a Philadelphia newcomer?" Something about his direct gaze and easy smile made me pause. "Do you like deep dish pizza?" I think I'm just going to have to let this play out differently than they expect. "How so?" "I'm considering not being here when they arrive on Sunday." Marcus raised an eyebrow. "That is certainly one approach. Would it help, though?" I shrugged. "Probably not long-term, but it might make the point that they cannot steamroll me." He nodded thoughtfully. "In my line of work, we talk a lot about security systems and protocols, but the most important security measure is always psychological, setting clear boundaries and consequences." The conversation shifted to other topics, but that phrase stuck with me: clear boundaries and consequences. The rest of the week passed in a blur of work deadlines and increasing anxiety. My presentation for the healthcare client went well, but I barely registered Catherine's approving nod as the clients left. My mind was too full of Sunday's approaching confrontation. Thursday night brought a panic attack, my first in over a year. I sat on my bathroom floor at 2:00 in the morning, counting my breaths and trying to slow my racing heart. The familiar thoughts circled like vultures. I am a bad daughter. I am a bad Layla's sister. I should just go along with it. It would only be temporary. Why am I making this so difficult? My therapy session on Friday was a lifeline. Dr. Lillian Chen had been helping me work through my people-pleasing tendencies for nearly a year. What would happen if you simply said no? She asked after I recounted the week's developments. They would ignore it. They would still show up with her things, and then I would feel forced to let them in. Would you, though? She pressed gently. Are they physically stronger than you? Do they have a key to your loft? No, but the trail of implications hung in the air between us. Madison, you have been giving your power away to your family for years. They are used to you accommodating their wishes regardless of your own needs. The only way to change that dynamic is to change your behavior. She made it sound so simple. The key insight came later that evening as I was leaving my building and saw Marcus testing a small security camera by his door. He explained it was a simple motion-activated model that sent alerts to his phone. Extra security for the new place, he explained. Occupational habit. As I nodded politely, the plan crystallized in my mind with perfect clarity. I invited Marcus for coffee the next morning. The local cafe, 2 blocks from our building, had become a weekend ritual for me. Their cardamom lattes and almond croissants, a necessary indulgence. He arrived precisely on time, dressed casually in jeans and a gray Henley. Something about his measured movement suggested military background, though he had not mentioned it. "Thanks for meeting me," I said after we had settled at a corner table. "I have an unusual favor to ask." His expression remained neutral, waiting for me to continue. "Remember my family situation?" I explained my plan, watching his face for signs of judgment or reluctance. Instead, I saw thoughtful consideration. "So, you want me to pretend to be your roommate when they arrive?" he clarified. "Yes, just answer the door, act confused about who they are, and stall until I get there." "What is your end goal?" he asked, stirring his coffee methodically. The question caught me off guard. My end goal? To not have my Layla's sister move in? To make my Layla's parents respect my boundaries? To finally be seen as an adult with agency over my own living space? I want them to understand they cannot make decisions about my life without consulting me, I said finally. I want them to see me as an independent adult, not just an extension of the family unit available to solve everyone's problems. Marcus nodded slowly. Makes sense. But why not just change your locks and not answer the door? Because this has to stop for good, I explained. If I just avoid them, they will try again. I need to confront the pattern, not just this specific instance. A smile tugged at the corner of his mouth. You know, in security, we sometimes create controlled scenarios to test systems, show vulnerabilities in a managed way before real threats exploit them. Exactly. I seized on the comparison. This is a controlled test of my family boundaries. He considered for another moment, then nodded. I am in. But we should have a signal system, and you should move anything valuable or private out of common areas just in case. We spent the next hour developing our strategy, exchanging phone numbers and establishing protocols like we were planning a military operation. The focused planning calmed my nerves considerably. As we walked back to our building, I felt compelled to ask, "Why are you helping me? We barely know each other." Marcus shrugged. I have 5 siblings and Layla's parents who still try to dictate my career choices. I get it. Plus, I believe in the right to control access to your own space. It is literally my job." His simple solidarity meant more than I could express. Back in my loft, I began preparations. First, I packed a small overnight bag with essentials, planning to stay at Jasmine's Saturday night. Then, I methodically went through my space, securing important documents, moving sentimental items to my bedroom, and clearing enough floor space that my Layla's parents would see exactly how small the loft really was. Marcus came over that evening to install a spare security camera he had, positioning it to cover my entryway and living room. He showed me how to access the feed from my phone and set up motion alerts. This is probably overkill. I apologized, suddenly feeling foolish. "In my experience," he said, adjusting the angle, "preparation is never wasted effort, even if you do not need all the contingencies." That night, I sent one final text to my family group chat. "I will not be available Sunday morning. Please do not come to my loft with Amanda's things. We need to discuss this properly before any moving arrangements are made." The responses came quickly. "Mom, we have already rented the trailer. Madison, do not be difficult. Dad, we will be there by 11. Amanda has a lot to move. Amanda cannot wait to be roomies again, just like old times." They had not heard a word I said. Or rather, they had heard but dismissed it entirely. The familiar pattern that had defined our family dynamic for decades. As I stared at their messages, a strange calm settled over me. I was done being the accommodating daughter, the reliable Layla's sister, the family fixer. Sunday would be different. Marcus and I had dinner in his loft Saturday night, a simple pasta dish he had prepared. His place was minimally furnished but oddly homey, with framed maps on the walls and bookshelves filled with history and technical volumes. "Are you nervous about tomorrow?" he asked as we finished eating. "Less than I expected," I admitted. "More determined than anything." "Good. Determination gets results. Anxiety just clouds judgment." We went over the plan once more before I left to stay at Jasmine's for the night. My phone was set to receive alerts from the security camera. Marcus would be in position by 10:30 Sunday morning, ready for my family's 11 arrival. As I fell asleep on Jasmine's couch, I wondered briefly if I was overreacting. Then I remembered my mother's dismissive tone, my father's presumptuous planning, and Amanda's entitled expectations. No, this was exactly the response the situation warranted. For once, I would write the script instead of just playing my assigned role. Sunday morning dawned bright and clear, the kind of perfect autumn day that normally would have me planning a walk along the lakefront. Instead, I sat in a different cafe than my usual, 6 blocks from my loft, nursing an Americano and watching the security app on my phone. Jasmine had offered to come with me, but this was something I needed to handle alone. Besides, she tended toward the confrontational, and the situation required precision, not additional heat. At 10:15, my phone buzzed with texts. "Mom, we are on the road. Should be there by 11 as planned. Dad, the trailer is packed. Amanda will follow in her car." I did not respond. Let them think I was still asleep, or in the shower, or simply not checking my phone. At 10:40, the security app pinged with a motion alert. Marcus was in position, settling onto my couch with a book as we had planned. He gave a small wave to the camera, knowing I would be watching. 10:55 brought another flurry of texts. "Mom, we are looking for parking. The trailer makes it challenging. Amanda, I am here." Buzzing up, but no answer. "Dad, Madison, we are here. Come down and help." I zoomed in on the security feed, watching my empty loft hallway through the camera. At 11:03, the doorbell rang. Marcus waited as planned. It rang again, more insistently. Then my phone buzzed with a call from my mother. I declined it. At 11:07, the building intercom buzzed. I watched Marcus rise calmly. Press the intercom button and listen. "Yes, this is Loft 4F, he said clearly. "No, Madison is not here at the moment. Who is this?" A pause as he listened. Her Layla's parents, I see. No, she did not mention anyone coming by today. Another pause, moving her Layla's sister in. There must be some mistake. I live here. I could imagine my Layla's parents' confusion and growing alarm. Marcus buzzed them up anyway, as we had discussed. Let them come face to face with the reality of their presumptions. Through the camera, I watched my loft door. At 11:12, there was a firm knock. Marcus opened it to reveal my Layla's parents standing in the hallway, expressions transitioning from annoyance to confusion. "Can I help you?" Marcus asked politely. "My father recovered first. We are looking for Madison Ila Monroe. This is her loft." Marcus maintained his calm demeanor. "I am Marcus Reynolds. I live here with Madison." My mother's eyes widened. "Madison lives alone." "No, we have been roommates since I moved to Philadelphia," Marcus countered smoothly. "Almost a year now." "That is impossible." My father blustered. "She never mentioned a roommate. We are here to move her Layla's sister in." Marcus frowned. Concern evident. "I am sorry, but there has clearly been a miscommunication. There is no space for anyone else here. Madison and I use both bedrooms. It was a small lie we had agreed on to reinforce the impossibility of their plan." "Where is Madison?" my mother demanded, trying to look past Marcus into the loft. "She had a meeting this morning," Marcus explained. "She should be back soon. You are welcome to wait in the lobby if you would like to speak with her." My phone erupted with texts and calls. Amanda had apparently joined my Layla's parents by now. "Madison, there is a man in your loft." "Madison, what is going on? Call us immediately." I waited another 10 minutes, watching the increasingly tense conversation through the security feed before finally responding. "I am on my way home now. Please wait in the lobby." As I gathered my things and paid for my coffee, I felt surprisingly steady. The time for avoidance and accommodation was over. I was prepared for the confrontation ahead. The 6-block walk gave me time to center myself. I rehearsed what I would say, focusing on clear, direct statements rather than accusations or apologies. By the time I rounded the corner to my building, I was ready. My family had not gone to the lobby as requested. They were standing on the sidewalk near the entrance. Amanda leaning against her compact car while my Layla's parents paced beside the rented trailer hitched to Dad's SUV. The trailer was packed with furniture and boxes, a visual representation of their presumption. Mom spotted me first. "Madison," she called, striding toward me with that particular mix of relief and irritation she had perfected during my teenage years. "What is going on? Who is that man in your loft?" I stopped a few feet away, creating deliberate space between us. "That is Marcus," I said calmly. "He lives in the building." "He said he lives with you," Dad interjected, confusion evident. "Is he your boyfriend? Why would you keep that from us?" Amanda pushed off from her car. Hello. What about me? Where am I supposed to go? All my stuff is packed." Several residents entered and exited the building, glancing curiously at our sidewalk drama. Good. Witnesses might help moderate my family's reactions. "No one is moving in with me today," I said clearly. "I told you this multiple times this week. You chose not to listen." "But we already rented the trailer," Mom protested, gesturing at the packed vehicle. "Everything is ready." "That was your choice," I replied. "You made these plans without consulting me. You assumed I would go along with it as I always have, but not this time." My father's face flushed. "Is this because of that man upstairs? Has he turned you against your family?" The accusation was so absurd, I almost laughed. "No, Dad. This is because for 30 years, you and Mom have made decisions about my life without my input. You have volunteered my time, my space, and my resources without asking. You have prioritized Amanda's needs over mine consistently, and I have let you because I wanted your approval. But I am done with that pattern." Amanda's eyes welled with tears. "Right on cue. I cannot believe you would leave me homeless, Maddie." Where am I supposed to go? The same place anyone else goes when they need housing, I said, not unkindly. You find an loft you can afford. You get roommates through proper channels. You budget and plan. She is your Layla's sister, Mom hissed, stepping closer. Family helps family. I stood my ground. Yes, they do. But help is not the same as enabling, and it is not help if it is demanded rather than requested. A small crowd of neighbors had gathered at a discreet distance, pretending not to listen while obviously absorbing every word. I turned to address my Layla's parents directly. I would like you both to come upstairs so we can talk privately. I said, Amanda, you should call Brittany. Did not she offer you her spare room last month? Amanda's surprise confirmed my guess. We had the same social circles in high school, and I still saw occasional updates through mutual friends. Brittany had mentioned having a room available during the brief conversation we had at a mutual friend's birthday party. How did you know about that? She asked. I pay attention, I replied simply. My Layla's parents followed me silently to the elevator. The fight temporarily drained from them. Marcus texted that he would clear out to give us privacy, but I asked him to stay. His presence would help keep the conversation productive. The real confrontation was just beginning. The elevator ride to the 4th floor was silent and tense. My mother stared fixedly at the floor numbers as they lit up while my father repeatedly checked his watch as if time itself was inconveniencing him. When we entered my loft, Marcus was waiting in the living room. His posture relaxed but alert. I made quick introductions. Mom, Dad, this is Marcus Reynolds, my neighbor from across the hall. Marcus, these are my Layla's parents, Ellen and Robert Ila Monroe. Handshakes were exchanged with palpable reluctance. Could we speak privately? My mother asked pointedly, glancing at Marcus. Marcus can stay, I said firmly. He has been kind enough to help me with this situation. By pretending to live here, my father challenged. By lying to us, Marcus met his gaze evenly by respecting Madison's boundaries when others would not. The blunt assessment hung in the air. I gestured toward my small living room. Please sit down. We need to talk about what happened here today and, more importantly, why it happened. My Layla's parents perched uncomfortably on my couch. I took the armchair while Marcus leaned against the kitchen counter, present but giving us space. For 30 minutes, I spoke more honestly to my Layla's parents than I had in years. I explained how their pattern of making decisions for me had eroded my autonomy and self-confidence, how their consistent prioritization of Amanda's needs had taught me my feelings were secondary, how their dismissal of my objections about the loft situation was the breaking point in a lifetime of similar dismissals. To my surprise, they actually listened. Perhaps it was the shock of the morning's events, or the presence of an outsider, or simply the fact that I was speaking with a conviction they had rarely witnessed. When I finished, my mother spoke first. We thought we were helping, she said quietly. We never meant to make you feel less important. I know, I acknowledged, but impact matters more than intent, and the impact has been significant. My father cleared his throat. The trailer rental is non-refundable, he noted, his practical nature emerging even in crisis. I suggest you use it to take Amanda's things to storage, I replied, or to Brittany's. If that option works out, a text alert sounded. My mother checked her phone. Amanda says Brittany can take her for 2 months while she figures things out, she reported, her tone suggesting this was a poor substitute for my loft. That is good news, I said sincerely. I hope she takes advantage of the opportunity. So, that is it, my father asked, an edge to his voice. You just decide family does not matter anymore. I leaned forward, meeting his gaze directly. Family matters enormously. That is why relationships within families need to be based on mutual respect, not obligation or guilt. I love you both. I love Amanda. But loving someone does not mean letting them make decisions about your life without your consent. My mother's eyes glistened with unshed tears. I thought we were close. I thought you would want to help your Layla's sister. We can be close without being in shed, I said gently. Door slams. Fridge hums like a warning. Ila Monroe's pulse drums against the sudden hush until her phone buzzes. Unknown number, photo, her lobby. Caption: You sure they're really gone? Breath stalls. Rain scent seeps through cracked window. Leaf rustle in the alley below. She thumbs the screen. No reply, no name. Marcus shifts on the couch. Everything all right? Not sure. She pockets the phone, but her skin still vibrates. Evening drizzles. Delivery pad tie steams on the coffee table. They eat in quiet, forks scraping cardboard. Every shadow looks like a suitcase she never okayed. Buzz again. Another pic. This time her hallway. Closer. The text. Still think boundaries work? Marcus stands. I can stay. Layla shakes her head. Whoever this is wants fear, not company. She bolts the door, slides the chain, checks the deadbolt twice. Midnight. She can't sleep. Curtains sway through the windows shut. She imagines Amanda's key, still on the family ring. Imagines it turning. Buzz. Third image, her own doorknob, fisheye close. Message. Knock, knock. Layla pads barefoot to the peephole. Empty. Only the flickering hallway bulb. She exhales. Then, soft scrape of metal against metal. Her spine straightens. She flips the porch light. Hallway floods white. No one. Yet the echo lingers. Morning. Sunrise paints brick gold. She cracks the door. A small envelope taped outside. Inside, Amanda's key, a flash drive, and a sticky note. Your turn to watch. Marcus brings coffee. They plug in the drive. One file. Video. Amanda in a storage unit. Boxes stacked high. She faces the camera, eyes puffy. I thought if I scared you, you'd fold. But you didn't. So I'm folding. 2 months. I'll figure it out. Keep the key. Proof I'm learning distance. Video ends. Silence holds. Then a slow smile breaks across Layla's face, small but hers. Marcus lifts his mug. To boundaries that bend without breaking. She clinks hers. Outside, the city wakes. Inside, the loft finally feels like hers alone. The storage unit door clanks shut behind me, echoing like a gavel. Mom and Dad watch from the car, Dad's jaw tight under the glow of the sodium streetlight. You're really making me do this, Amanda hisses, arms folded so tight her knuckles blanch. I shrug. It fits, or it doesn't. Brittany's couch is free, 99. Rain starts. Fat Philadelphia drops, drumming the corrugated roof like unsolicited opinions. She flicks her phone screen open. Whatever. Brittany gets family. At least she texts back. The old Madison murmurs, apologize. The new one pockets the apology. First week without their voices. Silence hangs heavy as winter coats never worn. Work spins faster. Healthcare project launches. Catherine taps me for the next big bank. You're sharper, she says, like you stopped leaking energy. I nod, tasting the word sharp on my tongue. Metallic, clean. Marcus slides takeout boxes across the counter. Pierogi tonight. Steam curls between us, carrying the scent of onion and new possibility. We eat and Netflix, the couch sagging just enough to feel like support. Thursday, therapy couch. Dr. Chen's fuzzy blanket smells like eucalyptus and safe mistakes. Tell me the moment you knew the boundary held, she says. The click of that storage lock. Sound of a door swinging shut and a life opening. You feel lighter, she notes. I do. Also hollow, like a too-deep breath after sprinting for years. Sad? Yes. Regret? Some. Freedom? Absolutely. The loft stays quiet. My plants inch toward the window, hopeful. I water them anyway. Growth over guilt, every time. Dr. Chen nodded thoughtfully. Both feelings can coexist. Setting boundaries often brings relief alongside grief for the relationship we wished we had. We spent the session exploring healthier ways to engage with my family moving forward, establishing guidelines that would protect my autonomy while allowing for meaningful connection. The silence from my family broke on the 10th day with a text from my mother asking if we could have coffee. We met at a neutral location, a cafe halfway between my loft and their home. She looked older somehow, the lines around her eyes more pronounced. We exchanged awkward pleasantries before she addressed the elephant in the room. "I have been thinking a lot about what you said," she began hesitantly, "about us making decisions for you without asking." I nodded, waiting for her to continue. "Your father and I," she twisted her wedding ring, a nervous habit I had observed throughout my childhood. "We always thought we were doing what was best for both of you girls, but I can see now that I often assumed what was best without actually asking you." The admission clearly cost her something. My mother rarely acknowledged mistakes. "I appreciate you saying that," I replied carefully. "It means a lot to hear you recognize the pattern." She reached for her coffee cup, then set it down untouched. "Amanda is settled at Brittany's for now. They have worked out a rent arrangement." "That is good news," I said sincerely. "How is she doing?" My mother sighed, angry. "Mostly at you, but some at us too. I think she expected us to fix this somehow." The familiar guilt stirred, but I recognized it now for what it was: a conditioned response to taking responsibility for others' feelings. "She will work through it," I said. "This is an opportunity for her to develop more independence." My mother looked skeptical but nodded. "Your father wanted me to ask, would you consider coming to dinner on Sunday just to talk?" All of us, including Amanda. I considered the invitation. The old Madison would have agreed immediately, eager to smooth things over. The new Madison needed more information. "What are your expectations for this dinner?" I asked directly. She seemed taken back by the question. Just family time. Reconnecting. "And Amanda, will she be expecting an apology from me or another discussion about her living situation?" My mother flushed slightly. "I cannot control what Amanda expects." "No, but you can set the tone as Layla's parents. This dinner needs to be about rebuilding trust, not pressuring me to change my mind." To my surprise, she nodded. "I will make that clear to everyone. No pressure, just conversation." We parted with a tentative hug, the first step on a long road to a healthier relationship. That Sunday's dinner was awkward but necessary. Amanda barely spoke to me, responding in monosyllables when I attempted conversation. My father was stiffly polite, clearly unsure of his footing in this new family dynamic. My mother tried too hard, filling silences with nervous chatter about neighbors and relatives. But we got through it, and the next one, and the one after that. Slowly, incrementally, things began to shift. My Layla's parents started asking before making assumptions. Amanda found another roommate situation through Brittany's connections and gradually resumed normal communication with me. At work, my newfound assertiveness translated to professional growth. I began speaking up more in meetings, advocating for my design concepts rather than deferring to louder voices. Catherine noticed, promoting me to senior designer with a meaningful raise. My friendship with Marcus deepened as autumn turned to winter. We explored Philadelphia together on weekends, discovering hidden architectural gems and neighborhood restaurants. When he asked me to dinner at an upscale restaurant near the river, the shift from friendship to something more felt natural and unhurried. 6 weeks after the confrontation, Amanda asked if we could meet for coffee. I'm still Layla, by the way, the woman who once poured cold water on every campfire to keep her Layla's sister from getting burned, then spent nights wondering why the flames inside her still cracked. 6 weeks after that raw cafe confession, Amanda texts, Operation Layla. Step 3. Tree trimming at our place. Same Philly row house where Sunday dinner was served with a side of guilt for years. I meet her at the curb. Salt-slick sidewalks crunch under thrift store boots. She hands me a paper cup, peppermint steam curling like drowsy ghosts. Inside, Mom has swapped the heirloom ornaments for plain glass balls, every color muted, like this whole family decided to start fresh with quieter hue. Amanda lifts a matte blue sphere. Pick a branch that feels safe. Safe? In this living room where my secrets once echoed? I turn the globe, catch the room's blurred reflection, a tiny me spinning. Strange. I hang it anyway. The branch sways, yet holds. Dad drags in an IKEA box labeled New Beginnings. Allen key glints between his teeth. Dad with tools, the universe tilting. He clears his throat. Figure we build something we haven't argued about yet. Marcus laughs gently, loosening the silence that usually knots us. Envelopes appear like nesting dolls. Mom's first, a therapy receipt stuck to a note. Thank you for teaching me parenting never graduates. Dad's, Polaroids of us at 8 and 6, grinning through missing teeth, the caption simply, "Start here." Amanda's envelope is thick. She elbows me. Open it together or never. Inside, a single small key, to her new loft across town. Boundaries, she whispers, but maybe spare keys aren't surrender. My pulse drums carols. We string popcorn, each kernel a confession. How I hid my raise so no one would borrow, how Amanda pretended the breakup didn't gut her, how Mom rehearsed apologies in the shower. The cranberry garland bleeds tart perfume, Philadelphia winter, sharp and hopeful. Before dessert, the power flickers out. Snow silences the block. Even the subway's distant rumble vanishes. In the candle's breathlight, our silhouettes become immobile of strangers who still share a last name. Mom reaches across the table. Her palm is warm. No lecture attached. Dad starts humming a Sinatra tune he swears he hates. Amanda joins, off-key and brave. My eyes burn, but the tears taste like sugar instead of salt. When the lights return, the tree sparkles. Not flawless, just assembled by hands learning tenderness. Marcus squeezes my shoulder. Outside, flakes fall softly, erasing footprints we might finally let stay erased. No dramatic bow ties this ending. Only the quiet agreement. Next Sunday dinner, someone else chooses the playlist. And the IKEA bookshelf is still crooked. But we built it. Listening. Really listening. For the first time. His steady presence a reminder of how this journey had begun. My Layla's parents welcomed him warmly, having long since forgiven his role in the loft confrontation. Amanda brought her new roommate, a sensible graduate student who seemed to be a stabilizing influence. Looking around the table at my imperfect evolving family, I felt a profound gratitude. The painful confrontation had been necessary to break the old patterns and create space for something healthier to grow. Later that night, sitting with Marcus on my couch in my still blissfully single-occupancy loft, I reflected on the journey. "Do you regret it?" he asked. "The way things unfolded that day?" I considered the question carefully. No, I decided. It was messy and uncomfortable, but necessary. Sometimes you need to disrupt the system to reset it. He nodded, understanding as always. In security, we call that a controlled breach. Sometimes you have to break something to make it stronger. As the new year approached, I realized how much had changed. In just a few months, I had found my voice, not just with my family, but in all areas of my life. I had learned that true love, whether familial or romantic, respects boundaries rather than ignoring them. I had discovered that standing up for myself did not mean losing connection with others, but rather created the foundation for more authentic relationships. The journey had not been easy, and it was far from over. Old patterns still emerged occasionally, requiring conscious effort to redirect, but the direction was clear now, the path illuminated by hard-won wisdom. Have you ever had to take a difficult stand with family to protect your own boundaries? I would love to hear your stories in the comments. Sometimes the hardest conversations lead to the most meaningful growth. If this story resonated with you, please hit the like button and subscribe to hear more reflections on family dynamics and personal growth. Thank you for sharing this journey with me. In the hushed glow of her loft bulb, Layla exhales a shaky laugh. The silence smells like fresh paint and old apologies. She plants a post-it on the brick. My rules live here. The fan clicks, one sound erasing years of shoulder-clenching expectation. Tears slide, salty and clean. Marcus sets the Sunday dinner plate beside her. Steam rises, carrying memories of slammed doors and borrowed keys. He asks, soft, "Worth it?" Layla nods, the leaf rustle of rain against the skylight answering for her. Across the table, her Layla's parents pass potatoes without pushing past her boundaries. Her Layla's sister's new roommate laughs, light, unguarded, proving space can be shared without being stolen. Later, couch cushions dip under,